funny that it's Essendon player testing positive or something, isn't it?
Pull your finger out of your ass.
Jeez.
This is my first ever football jumper. My three votes for
Three
Charlie. Oh, top of the world, mate.
What a time to be alive.
I look a bit like Nickel Bellic from GTA 4, I feel, with this.
That could get dangerous. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3 of the Pressure Point podcast. We are back after a long off season. It's been a big break, but we are back, Season 3. Very exciting, and joined as always by my favourite co-host, Quinny DeLuca. How are you, mate? It's been a long time.
Mate, it's been a very long time. It feels weird being back in the studio recording again. This goes to prove that I guess we're not a lockdown podcast. We actually continue out of the lockdowns, and hopefully we've got a few of you through it. But yeah, no, we're back, and hopefully bigger and better things in Season 3 for 2022.
Well, we've evolved. Like, we've got a few new additions to the studio. Like, we've got a screen for those listening.
Absolutely. We've got a squeaky chair. I can hear you sitting on over there.
Is that mine or yours?
Yeah, no, it's your chair. It's very squeaky over there. You must have put on a few kgs in the off-season, I reckon, mate.
That's not a good sign. We've got a few new additions. I feel like the lighting's a bit better. Maybe daylight savings has something to do with it. But it's good. It feels good to be back. Feel nice and refreshed after a big break. Speaking of big breaks, how was it? What you get up to? I'm sure there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, plenty. Obviously, our last episode from memory was late November, so obviously had the Christmas and New Year's period, which was interesting. Christmas is always way too busy, and then New Year's Eve was always a bit of fun. So we actually went house sitting for a month in Cheltenham, which is quite nice. A nice house there with a pool. So
just want to be close to me, didn't you?
Absolutely, mate. Moved down your side of town. So it was nice having a pool out there, and sort of first time living out of home, a little experience. Didn't pay rent or anything, which is a big bonus, but it was nice living out of home. So I'm thinking hopefully buy a place coming soon or renting somewhere, just because I've got to get out of the house now. I've experienced it, that taste.
Yep.
That makes sense. So that was good. Just sat by the pool pretty much the whole time. New Year's Eve was pretty good. Yep. Went to Johnny's Green Room on Lygon Street, which, being Italian, you'd probably expect me to go there, but it actually wasn't a very Italian crowd, if you can believe that. But it was quite a good night. That was about it. And then took it easy New Year's Day, sat by the pool and just had a couple of beers. Yeah, how about you?
Well, I was going to say, you've forgotten something important. Wasn't Eric your highlight of that period?
Eric was the highlight. Eric was the cat that were actually, the reason why we were house sitting was to take care of this cat. And I've never been a cat person. As you know, I've got a couple of dogs and I'm a big dog man, but this cat just changed my perspective on things. It was, one of a kind. Mr. Eric, as I called him, he was one of a kind character.
Yeah, you loved him. I wasn't too sure about him. I just don't like cats. It was just very unpredictable. But
yeah, I was the same as you moving in there. When I first moved in, I thought, I don't know, not a big fan of cats, but it only took a few days, and I thought, I love this little man.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, fantastic. How about you? What did you get up to?
Yeah, I mean, New Year, so I went away to Port Lincoln and Adelaide in South Australia there, so that was good fun. Caught up with a friend's family, well, my mate's girlfriend's family. So the Dale, Kristen, came along as well, which was good. We had a good time. Weather was spot on. Very nice down there. So it was good to get away, good to get on a plane and get out of Melbourne for a little bit. And then New Year's was just in Adelaide, so that was good fun. And then what else? What else happened over that period? I think we both escaped COVID. Everyone else got it, didn't they?
Oh, mate, I think we're a few of the only ones that haven't had it just yet. Touch wood, we don't get it now. But yeah, we got lucky, especially over that New Year's period, which a lot of people were getting. I'm surprised you didn't get it going away, getting on a plane. But
my housemates had it.
Yeah, which is crazy. And yeah, a few people in my family have had it and whatnot, and close friends, and I've been in contact with them, and I just kept dodging it somehow. So either COVID doesn't want me, or I'm just a bit of a lucky man. So
we're just healthier than the rest, I think, mate.
I think it is. It's that immune system, that fitness level, that elite fitness level that we've reached is surpasses COVID. So no, it's good.
Exactly. Speaking of fitness levels, mate, we're teammates.
Absolutely.
That's big news. I feel like that's the biggest news of the off season.
Absolutely, I think it is the biggest trade news that went down over the off season. For those who don't know, I've been a couple of years now. It's my second year at the Elsternwick Football Club. And I've been trying to push Marcus slowly over the last 6 to 8 months. Come down, mate. Give yourself another crack at footy. It's been a few years. You're refreshed. Your body's good to go. Let's get back into it. And had to, move a few things around, a few moving pieces involved. And I've offered him a car park and a lift to training every second week. So it was enough to get him over the line. But he's come down. He's joined down at the Elsternwick Football Club. And I think from all reports so far, a big hit.
Yeah, I mean, I've been loving it. I'm very glad that you sort of pushed me to get down there. It's been good fun. everyone's been very welcoming. It's a good group of fellas down there. And yeah, just loving kicking the ball again. I think just getting to that first session was good, and got a taste of it again. And here we are. Now I've committed to a season now, which is it's very exciting. Looking forward to get back into it.
Yeah, it's unreal. It's shaking out a few of the cobwebs I can see after your first couple of sessions, which was good. And a training with Elsternwick, we've been doing a thing which is it's not giving away any game plans or anything like that. But at the end of every session, we have an optional running, which is like a running block, usually interval sort of running and that sort of stuff. And I don't know, Marcus gets through the training sessions really well, looks fit, healthy, ready to go. And whenever we get to these running blocks, I don't know, it's shin splints or it's a sore hammy. I don't know what it is, or it's just a poor work ethic. But what's going on there, mate?
It's age, mate. Definitely age.
You're nearing the dirty 30.
Well, I hope not. I mean, whoever's organising those optional runs shouldn't be scheduling them for the end of the training session when everyone's absolutely cooked. That should be at the start of the session anyway. But that's my 2 cents. Well, my last year of footy, I did get shin splints a fair bit, and I could feel them coming back a little bit from training. So I'm just managing the loads. It might not sound great, but yeah, that's honest. That's the honest reason, and age as well. You know, I'm a veteran. Yeah.
You are a veteran compared to some of the other boys down there, myself included. But no, that's all right. That's all right. We'll let you slide, but practice matches are coming. They're around the corner. Yeah. So get those shins right, ready to go, and we'll see you out in the full 4 quarters of footy, hopefully.
I took Max's advice and did some heavy calf raises at the gym during the week, so hopefully that fixes them up.
Did you put a 5 kilo plate on, did you?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, there's that first swap.
Yeah, you're going to get a few shin splints for the rest of the year, mate.
But no, it is exciting. Just the only unfortunate thing is that we have to wear Essendon jumpers, but
it is a shame. You do get used to it. I found quite quickly that I actually look quite good in the Essendon jumper. I hate to admit. Well, I don't hate to admit it. You know, it's always good to toot your own horn a little bit, but it's not as hard to do after your first couple of games as you think it is. So you get used to it quite easily, and now to be good to go. But another exciting news, and he's around the corner. I can see him out the window back here. Is you got a new dog over the last couple of weeks, Big Chief, the Chieftain.
Big Chieftain, yeah.
How's he been going, mate? Because that's been a bit of a ride for you guys the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's been great. We picked him up from a rescue place, and he's been an absolute angel. He's the perfect fit for us. He's so smart. He listens to everything. He eats well. He sleeps well. The only thing that's a negative is that he's a very heavy breather, very heavy panter, which is not even a problem, to be honest. But if I had to pick something, that would be it. So he's great.
Well, I think to paint the picture of everybody that doesn't know what the Big Chieftain looks like, I reckon he's at least a 60 kilo Rottweiler.
Yeah.
Big boy, absolute thick boy, double C.
Yeah.
He's a big boy, but he's fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to run around with him.
He's great. Yeah, definitely one of the best things we've done. It's been great taking him for walks every day. He loves his exercise. He's 6 years old and he's got the energy levels of a puppy, as you've seen today.
Absolutely. Does he get shin splints too, or is that just his owner?
Oh, jeez. No, I'm sure he gets shin splints, but he probably just can't say anything.
He doesn't know how to drop out.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe
the optional ball chasing at the end of a walk.
Oh, you're an idiot.
We'll move on. There's been some other sports in the off season. The Super Bowl being the biggest one, and we spoke about it a little bit last year. You've sort of dipped into the world of the NFL the last year and a bit pretty heavily. You were following it quite closely with your team, San Francisco.
Yep, they did well. Yeah,
they got right up there. They nearly made it all the way. But I'm not a massive NFL fan, so I kind of know what's going on. The Super Bowl is always a big occasion, but how did you find the experience, and what was it? What was it like following your team nearly all the way there?
Yeah, it was great. So jumped on it massively this season. Just saw it as a great outlet for the off season of footy too. It was good to follow another sport. I also love my soccer as well, but it was good to have another one like the NFL to jump on. And it was a good time because when I jumped on, the 49ers were actually going pretty average, and then they seemed to turn it around and went on a massive run and only just missed out on reaching the Super Bowl. So that was really enjoyable. And then, the Super Bowl itself was incredible. The Rams and the Bengals, which I'm sure everyone knows about. And it was a great game. And the Rams won they've probably got one of the best teams on paper. So it was great. The Super Bowl they always do it the best with that halftime show that with 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, Eminem,
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, it was
Kendrick.
unbelievable.
It was huge. I'm a hip hop fan myself, and for those close to me, they know that I'm quite a big fan. What I thought it was, arguably one of the best halftime shows I've seen, especially seeing some of those older blokes come back together. And Eminem's always sort of been my number one in terms of music artist. So it was awesome to see him play live as well. But yeah, what you big fan of it, were you?
Oh, it was great. I think that's easily the best halftime show that they've done, and I think it's good. It definitely appeals to people in our generation as well. Just felt like you were a kid again, just listening to all those guys. So it was really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, you try to compare it with the AFL, but you just can't, like with the budgets that they've got over there. But it would be great to see the AFL just really take their entertainment to another level, because to be honest, like what are we really getting at our grand finals,
I think the biggest difference is, and I've had this conversation a few times recently, I think the biggest difference between the AFL grand final and the Super Bowl, apart from the obvious things, is that you'll actually get a massive number of people that will watch the Super Bowl purely for the halftime show. Whereas that everyone watching the grand final wants to just see the footy. They don't really care about the halftime show or the halftime performance or anything like that. So, look, is that a good thing? Yeah, I think it is. I mean, you're there for the sport, really. The halftime show should just be a bonus, not the reason you're there watching it. So I don't mind it. Obviously, the budget isn't going to be as big. We don't have the sort of capacity or the numbers of people that the Americans have. So we're never going to be able to afford that in terms of ticketing and all the rest of it.
Yep.
The money's just not there. But I don't mind it. I don't like people comparing the grand final to the Super Bowl, though, because like you've said, it's just a completely different thing. They're not similar in the slightest, apart from the fact that whoever wins, holds a trophy up at the end. So it's the only similarities, I guess. But for me, obviously not being heavily into the NFL, I'll still choose a grand final to watch any day over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we see it a little bit differently here, where we watch it for the game, where a lot of people watch the Super Bowl for the entertainment side of it. Yeah. Not even just for the halftime entertainment, but they watch it for like the spectacle that it is. It's always in an unbelievable stadium. There's always celebrities there. Like it's glamorous compared to what we have, where it's you're watching it for the game and watching the two best teams go at it, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. But I think that's something we could also use from a marketing standpoint in terms of spreading our game globally. I mean, I kind of prefer it just being Australian, to be honest. But in terms of getting recognised overseas, we have probably the best sport in the world. I mean, obviously we're a bit biased with that opinion, but just in terms of the excitement levels, like you look at the NFL, it's exciting, but it's a very slow-paced game. There's stop and starting all the time. And it's the same as a lot of sports, really, but we're sort of flowing the whole time. It's exciting. There's jumps. You don't have to explain what's in footy. Everyone listening knows, but it's a very exciting game. And if we marketed it properly, you could get sort of a lot more attention than we're getting. But I think we're also kind of just very content having it in our little bubble. And we've been doing it right for how many years now? I mean, why change a good thing?
That's true. Yeah,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say.
You're very, very right. It would be interesting to see what they do for the grand final this year when Carlton's in it. So we'll see what kind of entertainment they put on. Maybe get a few Italian artists to come out at halftime.
Yeah, they'll bring Andrea Bocelli. They'll bring Dean Martin back from the dead. Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, that'd be great. What else? Supercoach is a big one that we're trying to roll out at the moment, trying to get everyone involved in. We've got our first ever Pressure Point League. I personally haven't done Supercoach for a while, for a few years now. So, it's incredibly popular, and I think it'd be good to get everyone involved, get the Pressure Point family involved, and maybe we'll set up a juicy prize for the winner at the end.
Absolutely. We'll work something out in terms of a prize. We haven't quite nutted that part down yet, but we've obviously got a league running, so we've got a code out there. You can, if you're interested, send us a message. We'll shoot you the code and get you involved. But yeah, I'm the same. I do Supercoach every year. When I say that, I make a team, go through round one, and I don't touch it for the rest of the season. So I've never done it consistently for probably the last 7 years. So I'm excited now that this is sort of pushing me to do it properly. So I'm sort of starting from square one in terms of experience, because I really don't know what I'm doing. So it'll be interesting to see how we go, but no, looking forward to it.
Yep. I made my team yesterday and quietly confident about it, although I did think today that I forgot to put in Mitch McGovern, who I think is cheap, and I think he's going to do well playing it in his role at halfback.
I'm sure the other 16 Carlton players you probably have on your list, covers that.
Let me actually count how many I've got in there. Yeah, I reckon I've got, probably 12. No, I'm joking.
You would have all got him for dirt cheap. That's why.
I'm joking. But Paddy Cripps is a must. Obviously, he's probably the cheapest gun midfielder, I'd say.
Well, we're going to talk about it as well, but from what we've seen in the practice matches, he looks like he's back at his prime form, doesn't he? I mean, you know him better than me. Obviously, I'm looking from afar, but he looked back. What was it, 34-4?
We're getting into this now, are we?
Let's dive into it. Yeah, we're going to talk. Preseason hype was next on the list, so let's talk about it. And no one knows preseason hype better than a Carlton supporter.
That is true. That is true. So at the time of recording, we just beat Melbourne a few nights ago, and it was obviously it's a preseason game, but I think it was just the way we played was really good. Like we completely dominated them, and I mean they are the reigning premiers, so to do that is obviously impressive, no matter if it's a preseason game or not. And yeah, Paddy Cripps was back to his 2019 form where he was, the best player in the competition, 30 touches and 4 goals, and he looked really good. And then even, are we going to stick with Carlton? Is that what's happening?
What do you mean in terms of the preseason hype?
Yeah.
No, we'll talk about everything going on, but I mean, if you want to dive more into Carlton, I'm sure you can do that.
I mean, I'll touch on it quickly. Like obviously the hype's always big with the Blues. Like I've seen it year after year after year. That's why I try not to get sucked into it too much. But I think just the fact that what we did to Melbourne makes it a lot more real, I'd say. But yeah, not getting carried away by any stretch because if we're 0-2, it means absolutely nothing. So we'll see how we go in a couple of weeks' time against you boys, and then we'll judge it from there. But signs have been good, and obviously Michael Voss as coach and his coaching group have done wonders so far, and it's exciting. And then the additions of Chera and Hewitt look good too.
Yeah, no, you guys are looking very dangerous at the moment. And I think that's not the same for all teams, but the hype for all teams is sort of there at the beginning of the year because you're starting to see different changes you guys are making, and you think, wow, like this could really work this year. And depending where your team is in the ladder, you've obviously got different expectations as to what's a pass mark for the year. But it's super exciting. I mean, in the background, just before we recorded, the North Melbourne-Sydney game was on, and Jason Horne-Francis kicks a goal off one step, 45 metres out. Commentators went nuts, and you just think, is this kid going to be something special? I mean, it was directly in front, 45 out, but it's just that hype that I guess preseason builds because we haven't seen footy in so long that everything's exciting.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to it. Richmond had their practice match yesterday, or their first Amy Community Cup game against the Hawks, and I'm not going to...
sharp.
Pardon?
They look sharp.
We looked sharp. Things looked, we looked sort of in good motion, and we're flowing well. First half was really good, and I was really happy with that. But yeah, so like you said, round one will be the real test, and we'll see where sort of everyone's kind of at. It always takes 4 or 5 weeks to sort of see who's who's where and all the rest of it. But I'm not going to touch too much on Richmond, as I've been given a lot of feedback that apparently I put too much direction into Richmond, so I'm gonna lean off on that.
No, that's fair. That is fair. But no, the preseason games have been good. I've enjoyed them. They're still a good yardstick. I feel like preseason these days compared to what it used to be is a little bit more of a measure of where a team's at compared to what it used to be a few years ago. I think now anyway.
I think it definitely is. I mean, you look at the teams that are going out in the park at the moment, and even before the Amy series started, and it was just practice matches, and that they're playing 6, not 6 quarters because it doesn't make sense, but whatever you would call it.
Yeah.
Most teams were fielding their best 22. Like you might have a couple players if they had a niggle not playing, but most teams had their best 22 out there. So you're sort of getting a gauge of game plan and all the rest of it. So it's really exciting. I mean, we were talking about it before lunch earlier today, but it was a while ago now, but I think Carlton won the preseason cup and then, finished last on the ladder. But
that happened twice.
Okay, you said it, not me. But there you go. But that obviously back then it wasn't a real reflection of where a team is at. If you're going to win that cup and then come last, you're not expected to win the premiership after that, but not that sort of result. But yeah, so the way things are looking now, it's more of an indication, I feel, as to where teams are going to sort of not finish, but how they're going to play throughout the year and what you can expect. And I think that the race for the top 8 this year is going to be tougher than it's ever been. I was looking at teams today and trying to think, who could the Tigers knock out this year? And I'm like, honestly, don't know.
Yeah.
It's really
I tried doing a top 8 the other day, and it was crazy. Some really good teams were missing out, so it's going to be really hard. And we will be doing our predictions soon.
Absolutely, we will.
We'll be posting to the socials and just before round 1. So it's going to be really hard, that top 8. But there's always a surprise pack. What do they say? There's always one team outside the top 8 that jumps into the top 4 every year. So
usually,
you wonder who that. You got Richmond, who didn't even make the finals last year. You got Carlton, you got St Kilda, you got Freo. Like those teams hovering around. Are one of them going to just go in and jump? But you probably think Richmond's the more likely one, given where you guys have been.
From past experience, you'd think. But you just don't know. That's the thing. We've got a lot of older blokes. You get a couple of injuries that really hurt your team. This is anybody. And that's it. You're gone. So And we found that, you found that last year with a few teams that just got riddled by injuries. I mean, look at West Coast now in their preseason.
Yep.
They've lost half their side.
Do you think this is where they're going to fall?
You'd have to think so.
No Jack Darling either.
No, they've had definitely the worst preseason.
Yeah.
In recent memory, I think, in terms of the players that they've lost. And yeah, Jack Darling, not injured, obviously, just a bit skeptical about getting the jab. Which, you know what, it each to their own, I guess. But
we saw Liam Jones. I mean, that would have happened after we've recorded our last episode last year. So we haven't even spoken about Liam Jones, but that was a big one. And a massive loss for Carlton.
Oh, that's huge. And then you got to try and find. Yeah, so I wonder what the go is now in terms of if you lose a player due to that reason, do you get a compensation pick or is that just tough luck? I don't know how it's going to work.
I don't think Carlton got anything.
Yeah, no, I don't believe so either. So it's going to be interesting in going forward. But I think I think Jack Darling might be one of the only ones in the AFL that hasn't got his shot yet and refuses to. So I think it's other than Jones, obviously. So now for West Coast, I think they're going to really struggle this year. If they make the top 8, then hats off to them because they've done something right. Yeah,
I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing West Coast just drop off for a little bit. Like they're always a team that's just up there. I think it's because they have so many home games. Like their home games, they usually win them. Yeah, that's a massive advantage for them. But
a little bit like the Cats.
Yeah. Well, they're another one. Like, are they going to drop or are they just going to keep competing?
I'd love to say they're going to drop because I am over them being so good all the time, but I don't see it happening either. Like I said, unless they have a bad run with injuries, they do have a lot of older talent, as you know, a lot of people make fun of them for. So if you get a few injuries, you could easily drop out of that 8, but they finished 3rd on the ladder, I think, last year.
Yeah, but had a very poor final series.
Yeah, their final series wasn't great, but the year before that, they were in a grand final. Yeah. So you don't know. You can't write any team off, really.
No, not at all. No, it's going to be interesting. And then as you mentioned, Horn Francis before and North Melbourne, they're another one. Are they going to be as bad as they were last year or are they going to make a big leap? You probably expect them to because they've got a lot of good talent in. And they picked up Hugh Greenwood for nothing somehow off Gold Coast.
Cheap as chips. I still can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
That was a bizarre scenario there with the Gold Coast and Greenwood. But yeah, he'd be loving that. I saw him kick a couple goals today and he seemed pretty over the moon about it. And it looks like he's fitting in really nicely down at the at Arden Street.
Yeah, absolutely. I think North will be a lot better. I don't think they'll be good enough to make finals, but I think they'll improve a lot. Just seeing their young talent there. So I think they'll be good. And then I know Hawthorn, they're another one. Like I think Hawthorn and Collingwood would probably both be bottom 4.
Yeah, they did. So, Hawthorn really didn't look like giving much yesterday during the practice match against the Tigers. They just looked a little bit rattled. And a lot of young blokes, mind you, though. Like it's not like they've got the same veteran team they've had for years. They've got a lot of players that some people wouldn't have even heard of yet because they're just that young. So they're a rebuilding side. New coach, Sam Mitchell. I think exciting things to come from him.
I think they'll be fine. They're just in rebuild mode.
Yeah, they're in rebuild mode. There's no alarm bells ringing, I don't think, at Hawthorn. No. But yeah, I just don't see them finishing outside the bottom 4.
Yep. Last team we probably touch on. What about the Gold Coast Suns? Everyone's expecting them to finish last again. Could be their last season in the competition. They've lost Max King for the year.
It's just spells disaster for them, doesn't it? I think you look at the Gold Coast now, their best player, their franchise player, out for the season now, which is just heartbreaking news, not just for the club, but footy in general. You don't want to see players go down to ACLs, which unfortunately we are seeing a lot in the AFLW. But yeah, it's a terrible injury. So they're going to try to fill that gap now. They'll probably I presume they'll try and put someone like a Marby or Chol down there, but he's not the same player. So that's a loss regardless of, who goes down there. But yeah, they're just all over the place. Stewie Dew is under a lot of heat. I don't know if it's necessarily his fault or the way the club's managed or what it is, but they just really can't keep players. And letting players like Greenwood go for nothing, that's going to hurt. Yeah, absolutely. So I haven't done it all the time, but it's poor team management. Yeah. So definitely. Yeah. I'm not as negative about Gold Coast as a lot of people are. I don't think they'll finish last. Definitely not. I think that they've got enough players in their team to not finish last. Like they've got a very talented team. They just can't put it together. But mate, they got Levi Casbolt, so he might replace Benny King. You know what? He could be one of those players that just gets revitalised at a new club. He'll probably kick 5 against us in round 4. He probably will. Doubt. He just to rub a bit of salt in the wound there. But speaking of some of the talent they've got, if Took Miller was playing at a top 4 club, would he win the Brownlow? He almost won it last year. But yeah, probably. I think the fact that Gold Coast don't win many games sort of hurts his chances. And he's been very bullish on the fact that he wants to stay at the Gold Coast and build something there. He loves it there. So I don't know what Gold Coast are doing wrong in terms of player retention, but they're going to look at whatever's happening with Took Miller and try and, engage that to the other players because he loves it there and he sees something and he's looking forward to it. And he is a superstar. He just gets unnoticed being on the sunny coast.
I know. He's an absolute. I loved his year last year. I thought it was great. So, and then you got Matt Real, who's set the world on fire in his first season. We were loving him on the podcast.
Absolutely, we were. The shackles are off for him this year.
Yeah, well, he was injured last year as well. So he did his shoulder, then he's done his knee. Hasn't had a good run of it since those early few rounds. So is this the year where he finally plays to his potential?
You'd think so. By all reports as well, he's so professional with the way he rehabs, the way he goes about his footy and all the rest of it. And he just wants to learn and get better.
Yeah.
So I can't see him sitting on the sidelines and just moping around. I reckon he would have been working hard to get back to his, prime level.
Yeah.
He's obviously young, so he's still going to build to that over the next few years. But I think he's going to really get unleashed from the cage this year and just go nuts.
Yep, for sure. I completely agree. Well, we'll probably get more into the previews when we preview round one. We'll get more in depth and we'll look at who's likely to be playing and all the matchups with the teams as well. We'll do our tips and all that sort of stuff. So, but it's been good just to get involved in the preseason hype and see where all teams are kind of sitting and what some of the players are doing in training as well. So it's always fun trying to make these bold predictions, but
it's the most exciting time of the year almost, isn't it, when it's been such a long break? And news we didn't touch on as well is that round one is going to be 100% capacity.
Yep, great news.
In Victoria, at least anyway, I'm not sure what WA is doing and South Australia, etc. But I know at the MCG for round one especially, it's going to be 100% capacity. So I'm hoping we break a round one record for attendance, which we've got every chance of doing. Bulldogs, Melbourne, grand final rematch the first night. Richmond, Carlton, how big of a rivalry that's been over the years, and especially now we're sitting sort of equal positions in terms of where we're expected to finish, etc. So I think it's just going to be a massive round one, and I can't wait to get out there and get on the train to the MCG and walk through gate 6 and sit down and have.
Well, we're both going, but we're not going together.
No, which is another quarrel I've got there with the membership and the ticketing and all that. I remember 10 years ago it was so easy to get tickets. You could go with 30 people and you had no dramas. Now you want to go with one person who's got a different membership and it's an absolute nightmare to do. But yeah, obviously myself being an AFL member and with Richmond support and then you guys being Carlton members, it was just never going to work, unfortunately. But it could be better depending on how the game goes down. We could be saving ourselves from each other.
That is true.
If that's the case. But we'll go for a beer before and after the game, I reckon, and talk a bit of shit and hopefully, each one of our teams wins, in our own eyes. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm already a bit nervous for it because I feel like the pressure is right on us. But we'll touch on that in our round one preview, won't we? Well, let's not get too caught up in it just yet.
It's very easy to, but we'll wait. We'll hold off. But what can we expect from 2022? Not just from the season, but in terms of us as a podcast, what can we let everyone know we're looking forward to?
Yeah, so I think this year we're going to really focus on our guests. So getting a lot of you guys on the pod, you guys being the fans. So I think that was a big hit last year when we saw the popularity of it. So so if you're wanting to get involved and let off some steam, talk about your team, then absolutely let us know.